here we are on day 3. This is a wire wheel, and I tried it for a bit. It's actually too big for my grinder. I should have got a smaller one, but I was having more luck with the cup, so I went back to using the cup. I really racked my brain on what the hell happened to this frame. So it was the first year this frame was produced, so I thought maybe there was a manufacturing, they missed a step, or it wasn't dipped properly, or something went wrong. I just really couldn't figure it out. When I bought this, I opened the hood and the frame up front looked fine. I mean, yeah, there's grease and stuff, everything up front, but still looked fine. I didn't bother crawling underneath and hammering away at the rest of the frame. But it really confused me as to why the front looked so good compared to the back. And it's a city vehicle with 135,000 K on it. It lived its life within a 10-kilometer radius of home, selling snap-on tools to local people, so it wasn't driving much. Basically drive to a garage, sit there for 2 or 3 hours, and sell tools. And that's when it occurred to me that when he was in the shop, the unit inside was air conditioned, and he could run that off the engine, or he could plug into the shop where he was and turn on his air conditioner. And the condenser for that air conditioner was directly behind the driver's seat, underneath in the basement where I'm working, basically. Now that condenser produces lots of humidity, which falls to the asphalt or the ground wherever he's parked, and that evaporates. So basically, the skirting around the vehicle traps that humidity in the basement. And because it was parked and running an air conditioner most of the time when it was being used, it's my theory that that's what rusted out the undercarriage. The air conditioning condensing unit being in the basement, trapping the humidity in the basement, so it was just always moist down there. In Vancouver, Lower Mainland is already high humidity, so I think just adding that, I think that's what rotted the frame. I don't think it was a manufacturing that failed. My theory is it's the air conditioning condensing unit that caused all this damage. There's broken brake lines that have been replaced, and the old ones are left there. I found all kinds of bad stuff, which really, for a snap-on tool truck, you wouldn't expect that. He knows all the mechanics, he knows all the places that fix stuff, but the mechanical condition of this thing was just horrible when I got into it. The suspension was toast, broken springs, you name it. I paid way too much for this truck, but so be it. I looked for this truck for a year, and then I saw it on Craigslist. It had been on Craigslist for like half an hour. I was the first guy to call, and I picked it up the next day. I was probably just too happy to have finally found the truck to really give it a good look, and I knew I was leaving town for a camp job in a couple of months, so I just needed to get the truck, get the ball rolling. And anyway, this is what I ended up with, this nightmare. So I just keep switching between the tools. Start with the hammer, then the chipping, then the wire cup on the grinder, then the wire cup on the drill. The one on the grinder is like a 2-inch cup. The one on the drill is like a 1-inch cup. And just keep hammering and shaking until stuff stops falling off the frame. It's like doing aerobics, gymnastics, contortionist. You don't get to work in a comfortable position. It's really good for diversifying your muscles. There's no use doing a poor job and painting and just be wasting your time. If you don't put in the time necessary, you'll be wasting your time. Here's where I make a mistake. I use the grinder on the undercoating, and the undercoating, it doesn't come off. It just gets hot and melts and turns to mush. And I'm not sure if I've left a coating of paint on there because of that, or if that's actually undercoating that stained the steel there. You can see where I got it down to the bare metal on the right, but then this is just stained black. I should have chipped that first. Same deal with the box where I am now. It's got the undercoating all over it, and I'm chipping it first, and I end up with a much better job. I only hope that the undercoating and the sealer that I'm using don't react negatively to each other. Time will tell. Under these conditions, you can't do an exceptional job. You can do a decent job, a good job, but you can't do a perfect vehicle restoration job. But hopefully you can do a good enough job to prevent further decay of the frame. Another thing is 95% of this frame will never again see the elements. It's all going to be inside the basement. Dry, warm, temperature controlled basement. So that's a good thing. Eating lots of dirt. It's all falling on my face. I know I'm wearing a mask and stuff, but it's in your ears, it's in your clothing, it's all over. Just when you have a shower, when you get home, you're filthy, dark, black water. And pulling wire filaments out of your clothing and forehead. I seem to remember those the most, the ones in my forehead. You're up close and personal with the darn grinder for so many hours, you're bound to take some in the face. The cordless is nice. Not dragging batteries, or not dragging your cable around. Kind of nice. And the grinders go forever with a brush on them. They don't last so many hours. Batteries don't last so long when you got the zippy discs on there and grinding discs. But under these conditions, in this particular application, the grinder works great. And I think this is the end of day 2 actually.